I actually didn't plan to make this video at all, but I was recently in Seven Dials buying cheese at my favourite cheese shop, and I took a stroll down towards the embankment, and entirely unexpectedly I spotted this curious street. This is Lower Robert Street. Now, its existence is not exactly a mystery, as I was informed in no uncertain terms by my Instagram comments section. But it was new to me, so I thought I'd do a video about it anyway, so there. It's another of those things that results from London's geography. The street that we now know as the Strand, or if we're being pedantic about it, just Strand, became quite fashionable in the 18th century. It was, after all, a street leading between fashionable West End destinations like Piccadilly and Mayfair, and the business district that is the City of London. One of these developments was the Adelphi. Adelphoi really, is the Greek word for brothers, and the developers were indeed brothers: John, Robert, James and William Adam. They were inspired by the Roman Emperor Diocletian's palace in Split and proposed in 1768 to make this new development a model for future construction. The brothers' names were also used for several of the streets around here, including, yes, Lower Robert Street. Robert Adam is perhaps the best remembered of the brothers, and he took the lead on the project. He was an architect of great distinction who is responsible for, among other things, Fitzroy Square. This land slopes quite sharply down towards the Thames. The name Strand means, basically, waterfront. And near the lower end of Lower Robert Street you can see this old Watergate from before the embankment was built. The idea the brothers Adam had was that they would create a level surface for their houses by building warehouses and a wharf below. This would support the houses both physically and financially. They hoped to rent the warehouses out to the government. As it happened, the government weren't interested. Whatever Robert Adams' abilities as an architect, his wharf was pretty lousy. Among other things, it was too low. With no one interested in their warehouses, the brothers risked bankruptcy and were only able to keep their heads above water, so to speak, by holding a raffle with the houses as prizes. So, Lower Robert Street was not the commercial thoroughfare it had been intended as. But things would get worse just over 100 years later. Until this point, London's sewage had flowed into the Thames. This was, to put it bluntly, not good. In 1858, the Great Stink occurred when a hot summer and low tides on the Thames combined to force many of those well-heeled riverside residents out of the city. It also affected Parliament, which is, of course, the best way to ensure that something gets done about it. And so plans were drawn up for an intercepting sewer along the riverfront. This would also include a road and an underground railway, and it would become known as the Victoria Embankment, completed in 1870. What this meant was that those riverside stores under the Adelphi were no longer by the river, so they were largely abandoned. They became a shelter for the homeless and a haven for criminals of various descriptions. In 1936, much of the Adelphi was demolished, taking with it most of the vaults. Lower Robert Street is, as far as I'm aware, the only publicly accessible part of the remaining vaults. Its main use now is as a shortcut and a means of escaping traffic on the Strand, popular with cabbies and delivery drivers. I should point out that it's closed off at night, though. Perhaps inevitably, legend has it that it's haunted, apparently by the ghost of a murdered woman known as Poor Jenny. I didn't encounter any ghosts or anything supernatural on my visit, I'm afraid. Just a bit of 18th century vaulting, which I found interesting at least. The street is only a short one and makes for a quick and interesting diversion if you should happen to find yourself in the area. And there's a good wine bar nearby as well. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then I would be pleased as punch if you'd leave a like and perhaps subscribe for more about London and its curious history. I would like as ever to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon and here on YouTube for your support. You are the winning raffle ticket to my House Hunter. And I will see you all again very soon. Cheerio.